A new God of War game is coming out on Sunday, but that's too far away. It's my God of War Ragnarok, and I need it now. What could be better than playing through a Game of the Year contender? Only one thing: playing through 2 Game of the Year contenders at the same time. In my quest to find the most fun build in Elden Ring, I decided to bring Kratos God of War into the lands between. To watch these runs live, follow me on Twitch, join my Patreon if you want to give me money, and if you want to get started, let's go get an axe to grind. Character creation is pretty simple. Shave the head, get that beard on, put a mark on the eye, and boom, we're in the Chapel of Anticipation. I took off the hat, and wow, we already have our armor for the run. Awesome. Kratos can wear other armor, but this is the iconic set. Video game protagonists always have a ton of options, but I'm going specifically for the iconic pieces of their kit. Let's get that out of the way right now.
Now there is no hope.
And Kratos cast himself from the highest mountain in all of Greece.
Wow, cool throwback to the first God of War game, right? Limgrave time. Buy the crafting kit, get the horse, save Alexander, and make our way to the Third Church of America for the Physic Flask. Lord knows, Kratos loves getting physical. We wahoo into the Dragon Barrow, do a bit of grave robbing, and buy the spiked cestus from the merchant. Now we're ready to punch a dragon to death by stubbing its toes so hard it bleeds out. Takes around 5 minutes, which feels slow, but when you think about it, that's super fast considering how big this dragon is. It's gotta have a lot of blood. Heading into Fort Faroth, we grab the Dectus Medallion and take our first death to the rats on the way to the Radagon Sword Seal. Even more of a bummer because I'm not even gonna use it. I'm diving into the High Road Cave and fighting a giant. Just like God of War, we end it with a QTE, breaking open its chest and ripping out its heart. Hell yeah. That'll give us the Blue Dancer charm, boosting our damage when we're not wearing a lot of clothing, which, hey, we're not. Now we'll grab the Strength Physic tier before heading into Lernia and grabbing some stones, just because they're on the way. We're just getting the bell bearings for most of them, but I'm not gonna ignore stones if they're already on the way. I'm also not gonna avoid murder, so let's kill Hoslow while he mourns his best friend. It sounds mean, but Kratos isn't nice, and he'll drop the first of our Chaos Blades, the Hoslow Petal Whip. I know it doesn't have a sword on the end, but the sword option is the Magma Blade, which doesn't have a chain. It also only has a 1% drop rate from enemies I can only kill 2 at a time, and I have to ride an elevator up a shortcut to get to them. It would be really annoying. I'm using the Hoslow Whips for the Chaos Blades. Sorry if you don't like that, but you should also follow me on Twitter because I ran a poll and people decided that it would be more like whips than swords. So, We already have 2 weapons we'll need to upgrade. Obviously, we're gonna need a 3rd for the 2nd Chaos Blade and a 4th for the axe. So let's get to the bell bearing. Touch base at the Bellum Highway Grace. The game was nice enough to let me live the Spirit Spring jump this time. Into the Raya Lucaria Crystal Cave, I picked up a few stones here and there, but mostly just heading down to kill the Crystallion. It's literally hard, but figuratively easy. After you break the literally hard skin, the damage turns up to 11, and you easily get the Smithing Stone Bell Bearing 1 to buy Smithing Stones 1 and 2. To buy 3s and 4s, I need the 2nd Dectus Medallion piece. Might as well grab some Fireflies on the way. The bear is pissed off. Apparently he was saving those for a special occasion. Also on the way, grab the Charged Attack Physic tier and the Charged Attack Talisman for stronger strong attacks. Now imagine Kratos in Fort Height. This is where we'll fight the Fort Knight and get the #1 victory royale. Up the ladder, we can scoop up the 2nd Dectus Medallion, then ride up to Altus and head into the sealed tunnel for the Bell Bearing 2. Now we can buy 3s and 4s and level up our punchers. Let's test them out against Nerd Juice and Patches, 2 dudes who decided to poke the Kratos. It doesn't go well for them. We beat the living shit out of them. With the pickle recipe acquired, we can start powering up this lad with the Barbarian Roar Ash of War near the Ruin-strewn precipice, which will boost our damage and give us a unique strong attack while we're raging. That means we can head into the Limgrave tunnel and ignore the smithing stones because I actually want the drop from the Stone Digger Troll this time. Beating the hell out of it gives us the Roar Medallion, boosting our damage from the unique strong attacks after we roar. We're actually using the Roar Medallion, gamers. What a lovely day. Before we go slam the rest of the world, we should get the experience boosting talisman in the abandoned cave. It's covered in poop. We do it every time, but only on special occasions do we finish it off with a QTE. I'm playing on super expert hard mode, so I don't even see the button prompts above the enemy's head. It's just pure instinctual violence. That gives us enough runes to level up the punchers even higher. I don't summon for Baldur. I don't need any help. I have the power of pure rage. The spiked cestus get bleed going, which is just the best status effect in the game. That gore pairs nicely with some QTEs for big bursts of damage. We kill him, but he's not actually dead. Classic Baldur move. We'll fight him again later. For now, we go up to Gostok, get him to open up the gate, then open up his guts for an extra silver pickle. Violence is fun. I'm still going up the safe path, I just did that for the pickle. Quick rusty key up the ladder and past the grafted scion. There we can grab the Leviathan Axe, or the Highland Axe in this game. It boosts roars like the Roar Talisman does, even when in the offhand, so our shouts are going to be leading us into some brutal charged attacks. Let's go test it out on some gods. First up, Smaragd. We roar, then start slamming it in the face. We haven't leveled the axe up at all yet, so it's just fist to dragon face. For some reason, it works better than the whip did in the skeleton run. I don't really know how. Hitting the face doubles the damage, and I believe doubles the stance damage as well. Maybe not, but we still got a few QTEs in and beat it by punching it in the face. God, that feels good. Behind the dragon, I grab the glintstone key, then use the runes to level up the axe a little bit. Since we need a few pickles, I bought a bow for hunting birds. I'm not using it on bosses. Into Raya Lucaria, the game just decided I didn't get to play for a second. Unfortunate, but it's not stopping me from storming these gates. Sleipnir is a big old dog, but his health bar is itty bitty. Technically speaking, it's the same size as every other boss's health bar, but it disappears fast. I was a little nervous about Moongrim. He has a nasty habit of parrying every direct attack. That's kind of all Kratos is doing. Not a problem though. We open up the shortcut and grab the Crystal Whetblade, which will let us make our Leviathan Axe cold. Ice cold. All right. Okay, now ladies, specifically Celine and her clone ladies. We kill a few kids. This time it was intentional, so hopefully it's not too traumatic. Our damage is good enough to one cycle the first phase of the moon. In phase 2, we quickly get a bleed and a QTE. She summons the Bloodhound Knight, but it's not enough to save her. Stormveil next. This is the first time we're going to use the combo we will use for most of the run on Godrick. The Leviathan Axe applies the Frostbite, lowering his resistances and doing a nice chunk of damage on its own. Then we switch to the boxing gloves, shout out for some rage, and unleash a storm of fists, raining down on his head, blasting him in the face, pummeling him in the stomach, hitting him so hard in the chest it feels like his heart's gonna stop. That's the real Stormveil. Party time! Jaren invites some friends over to kill a god. Friends? Not really Kratos' vibe. God killing? Now that's his bread and butter. I hop through the gate and get ready for Hercules. We get the frostbite off, then break his stance, and the pals slam away. We also bleed him with the fists before phase 2, so he's looking low as he drops down. Unfortunately, after we get the stance break in phase 2, the rest of the party kills him before we can get the QTE. It's sad, but we still killed 3 demigods in less than an hour. Things are going great, and I don't see them getting worse.
With darkness and silence through the night.
Let's head into the War Dead catacombs and get a little lost. It's full of twists, turns, and a bunch of Radagon soldiers and Cleanrot Knights going to war with each other. It's not my problem, but it is a pretty great way to farm AFK if you want to do that at home. We don't do that here. I just want to find the lever and make my way to the boss. Although I got rotted, so I actually went back to heal at the Grace. I would hate to fight a boss while rotted. The boss is the Putrid Tree Spirit. It's a snake, it's a tree, it's a snake tree eater. And oh no, I really fucking hate this boss. Its body is all weird and twisty, its movement is straight up incorrect, and its damage is absurd. We're whiffing all the time, even though it is the largest of lads. Unlike its Erdtree avatar cousins though, it can be afflicted by bleed and frostbite, so the strategy is big charged attacks, get some frostbite, then try for bleed. Still doesn't go all that well, because this is just straight up one of the hardest bosses in the game for me. I'm noticing our healing is a little weak, so let's take a detour. In the Weeping Peninsula, we grab a golden seed, and then 1, 2, 3 sacred tears to heal a little bit more every time we hit that chug jug. After we head back in, we got rock grabbed, which is just such a brutal way to go out. It also like teleported at one point. On attempt number 7, I get grabbed again and just quit out. Still counts as a death, I just didn't want to watch it again. Finally, we get the win on attempt number 8. Our reward is Redmane Knight Ogha, an archer who shoots arrows when we yell at them. If that's not the boy, then I don't know what is. Though its spirit description actually has no gender, I'm not sure boy is accurate. Second though, and a bit of a spoiler, the boy is Loki, so the boy is definitely not just a boy. Let's be a father and a husband. A real Our wife is at the top of Lucaria Manor, so we have to start the Ranni quest. That means smashing the crap out of Loretta. She's pretty resistant to magic and fully immune to all status effects, but that doesn't matter much. The snake treater makes everything seem easy in comparison. Up the tower, we meet with Faye. She wants us to pick some flowers underground for the boy. Into Nokron, Hercules crashed into the world and made a big hole, so now Kratos can go into Hercules' big hole. After grabbing the bell bearing, we can fight the Mimic Tier. That's really not hard. Loretta is easy, but the Mimic Tier actually can't deal damage to us. It's such a fun boss fight because it's just a cakewalk. Rest of the Fae quest, into the Night's Sacred Ground, grab the Glovewort 10, then do the Carrion Study Hall, even though I didn't have to. I think this is the last run I do it, sorry. Into the Ainsel Rivermain, we say hi to Phalanx Demon's Holes, grab some Gloveworts 8 and 9, and now we can level up our boy because he will never see his mom again. Womp womp. We do need a few runes to get the mind to summon the boy, so we'll show him how to hunt for pickles. Birds, easy prey. Bears, harder prey. They block the fireflies, but sometimes they get so annoying you just have to kill them so that the other bears know not to mess with us. To pair with our pickles, I think a really nice putrid avatar salad. Tossing that salad isn't quite enough, so I go to Grail as well, get a little frostbite, stance break, QTE combo. It's good stuff. Our actual first fight with the boy is against the Draconic Tree Sentinel outside of Lindell. They're mostly an archer patrolling the area you summon them in, so it leads to a lot of great distraction moments. I'll be up front, tanking, and the boss will try to chase them down. But before the boss can get to them, I hit the boss again. First try, we get the win, then upgrade the boy to level 10. Let's take a little break. We've been working so hard. Into Lindell, we very quickly slam the Erdtree avatar with the boy, grabbing the Ritual Shield Talisman for more defense at full health, and fight the Ares Shade. Apparently, we've been thinking about doing it for a while because we just kinda hit him a lot. It works really well, even though the Shade is fully immune to all status effects. I just ignored the assassin on the way to Baldur since she's not worth my time, and because she's scary. Sometimes those assassins give me the work. I don't want to deal with that. Baldur is angry that we killed him last time, so I'll need some help. I bring in Melina and the boy. We're getting the biggest slams we can, hoping to break the stance and get that frostbite off. Then switch to punching to get the bleed off. All told, it takes less than 2 minutes. Melina wants to burn down the Erdtree. Sounds like that would piss off the gods, so I'm down. Let's boogie through the Forbidden Lands up to the mountaintop of the Giants, grab the Smithing Stone Bell Bearing 3, then ignore Realis, get the Smithing Stone 10 and the Sacred Tier before leveling up our axe. Not all the way though, unfortunately, we don't have enough runes. Killing Prometheus should give us quite a few runes, but just entering the arena, I made a mistake. Ogha doesn't leave the immediate area you summon them. They walk around a little bit more than Latenna, but she literally can't walk, so that's a low bar. The ankle thankfully breaks before his stance does. That means our damage is pretty good. It doesn't really matter that his frostbite resistance is super high. We slam a lot, it's eventually going to happen. Phase 2 begins, which means that his resistance is reset. So I avoid the big tummy breath, get the frostbite, avoid the tummy fire breath again, and he finally crawls over to the boy. That means the boy gets to join the fight. I swapped to the Cestus to get some bleed, but it took a long time to actually pop. Once it does, we kill another god, use the runes to hit light load, burn down the Erdtree to go to Farum Azula. Hopefully everything stays this easy forever. Crumbling Farum Azula is basically Mount Olympus after Kratos is done with it, except we haven't been here yet. Who killed the gods? No, it was the Godskin duo. Nobody kills gods but Kratos. I bring in Burn, I bring in the boy, and we get to work. I almost died, but managed to get away with enough health. Enough health, that is, to be hit twice by the rollout. Corey, enhance. Look, there's hit 1, there's hit 2. Did I have time to react between those 2 hits? No, I didn't even hit the floor yet. I hate the rollout so much. Attempt 2, I bring out the boy, but I forgot to summon Bernie. Was that gonna be a problem? Yeah. Since I thought I had Bernie too, I targeted Chunky hoping that he and the boy could handle Skinny by themselves. But after we whiffed a crit and got rolled out into a corner, the boy died and we were alone. We got another stance break, but it was not enough. Next time it does work out a little bit better with Bernie and the boy. We get a nice early crit on Chunky and Skinny dies pretty quickly. Of course, it wouldn't be a Godskin fight without the rollout, but after we survive, we end things. Or rather, Bernie does with a crit on Skinny. Thanks for being such a bro. No, Bernie. All of those runes get spent leveling up our weapons. Having multiple weapons in a playthrough might sound fun, but if you don't want to grind extra bosses or run around the overworld looking for stones, it's gonna cost you levels. I put the shield on before getting a sneak peek of Maliketh, and see, it's axe and shield. Nobody can say I didn't axe and shield. There is axe and shield, right there. The Beast Clergyman isn't too bad on his own. Obviously, we're ready for the Maliketh fight. We also got an Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone to cap off a second weapon. That should help. After all of that smithing, we only have the runes left for one level. Yeesh. The path to Maliketh is also full of danger, so I don't know if it will be deathless. It's a great place to grab the Dragon Crest Shield Talisman +2 for more physical defense. We can do the Bird Run safely and fight the Draconic 3 Sentinel. It's just a matter of frosting the bite and stancing the break. We're finally getting a bit more consistent on this bad boy. Let's see if Maliketh continues to be so consistent. So remember how the boy likes to stay put? Since the only safe path to summon him is right by the front door, it ends up being kind of a problem for phase 2. We get a QTE phase transition, which moves Kratos and the boss to the center of the arena. We are too far away from the boy for them to get any shots off. I noticed this after the stream. During the stream, I just suffered. Attempt 2, we bring the boy and get a nice stance break. Maliketh's got really low stance. Even with an axe and cestus, you're probably gonna get him stunned pretty easily. But when phase 2 starts, he doesn't feel like flipping, at least not right away. Eventually, he starts doing a goddamn gymnastics routine and catches me with the AoE. I really hate that one. You just kinda gotta watch yourself die after it comes out. The problem here is our armor. We're basically wearing rags. We don't resist any damage and we just kinda get melted, especially against a boss like Maliketh that excels at melting. We're also weak to gravity. This time he just pushed me off a cliff. Eventually we're able to brute force it, not by changing our strategy at all, just kinda getting a little more lucky and a little more precise with our dodges. The only thing we have left is endgame. So let's go end this game.
This is not the end.
Oh, yeah, I forgot we have to get the Chaos Blades, so yeah. This part of the game is going to be roughly 34 minutes of in-game time to get a second Hoslow whip for the Blades of Chaos, which we will use exclusively on Gideon Ofnir, because whips are kind of bad. They're better in NPC fights. The Hoslow whip is the best whip in the game. It does have innate bleed, but it still doesn't deal very good damage. It's bad at stance breaking, it can't crit anyway, and uses an excessive amount of stamina. Anyway, to Altus. We got invaded by Eleonora while scooping up a sacred tear, but she didn't kill us, gravity did. Then we can run up Mount Gelmnir to make a deal with Tanith, climb some ladders, what a thrill, and make our way into Volcano Manor. Local MILF in our area wants us to kill some dudes. First, Istvan. He's got a big sword and some gravity. Not an issue. Surprisingly, I had more trouble with Riley the Idol and his rot dagger that has more poise than our axe. I guess it's probably more of an armor thing, but different weapons also have different amounts of poise, and it's kind of embarrassing that we're getting comboed out of our attacks by a dagger. By the time we bring it to Hoslow though, I come up with a poise exploit. Using the charged roar strong attack, we get additional poise, letting us barrel through Hoslow's Chaos Blades and trade damage. Since we have more flasks than he does, it works out in our favor and gets us the win. Second Hoslow acquired, now we just need to fully upgrade 2 weapons. Oh, this is gonna take a while. The Erd Tree Avatar and the Mountaintops of the Giants should be pretty easy. It's the same as the other ones, but stops attacking to double its hurt box around half health. Usually I kill it in that window, boom, free runes. That'll buy us a few stones, but not enough. We need more. Into the Dragon Barrow Cave, we head down and spend a minute thrashing the beastmen of Farum Azula. I've been adding them to my regular farming repertoire. If you want to do so at home, focus the small one, then get the big one. It's the best way to do it. Even with 2 endgame bosses worth of runes, we still don't have enough money for all the smithing stones. How about a third? Remember when we Ignorealis to Borealis? This time we're boring through Borealis. You would think that the whips would be great for hitting dragon faces, but no, I don't think FromSoft put an animation to let you angle up, so the fists end up being a bit better. It's still immensely satisfying to punch a dragon in the face, so I'll take it. That will finally give us what we need for the whips. Now we just need 2 more ingredients. I'm grabbing Flame of the Redmanes, not because I actually want to use it, I just need the Chaos Blades to have a bit of Chaos Flame. Shoutouts to Dark Souls 1. The dog won't let us leave, so we have to doesthedogdie.com it. It does. We can double up the Flame of the Redmanes with a Lost Ash of War from the Weeping Peninsula, boost that fire damage with the Flame Tear from the Putrid Avatar in Caelid, and the Ritual Sword Talisman from killing Gilka. While in Altus, I also grab the Pearl Drake Talisman +1, which boosts non-physical damage resistance. It's pretty good against Gideon since he does magic and holy damage. Mimir time, although some just call him meme, and we're fighting him with whips, which are basically a meme. They're pretty good against NPCs though, since they can catch rolls easily, and no stance damage isn't a factor since NPCs don't have stance anyway. Overall, the damage boost from the Flame Tier and the regular bleed, we're dealing some decent damage. It's probably because Gideon Ofnir has the HP of a wet paper towel. Let's go fight some actual gods.
Ares, you son of a bitch, come get some dinner. Tonight, Kratos and the boy are serving up a mixture of jump attacks and charged attacks for the stance break.
Don't know why I wanted to make Kratos Macho Man Randy Savage there, but whatever. Once Godrick is on his knees, we get the critical hit and Frostbite to pop at the same time for a hearty chunk of damage. But it's not actually the best news, since that puts him in phase 1.5 with the area stomps. Not only are they a pain to dodge, but our boy is going to get hit by all of them since he can't dodge. With very few windows to get damage in, we're stuck in this phase for a while. By the time we hit phase 2, the boy is looking low. They're still shooting those arrows though. They hate the gods so much. I'm so proud. As Ares activates phase 2.5, we get a chunk of Frostbite and lower the resistances. That's gonna lead to a quick death. For Zeus, we need the big guns, like Godrick's Great Rune. That'll raise all of our stats by 5, which means 15 levels of extra damage on our axe, 5 levels of HP, 5 levels of endurance, and 5 levels of holy defense. There are times when other Great Runes are better, but those times are few and far between. Into Zeus's domain, we summon the boy and start swinging. While Radagon has high resistances and is fully immune to bleed, he is not fully immune to frostbite. Stance breaks also happen, but sometimes you whiff the crit. I guess you can't hit it from the back. There's the frostbite, which apparently pissed him off and activated super speed grab. Never seen him grab that fast. Is that something he can always do? Why wouldn't he do that every time he grabs? Doesn't really make sense. One more QTE before we get to the Elden Beast, which would be like, I don't know, just like the rough concept of deities? We get an early QTE, but the rings come out and actually went for our boy. Kind of messed up our planning since I sprinted in the wrong direction. Whoops. Then we got the Flying Elden Rain, which is just brutal to dodge. I'm still not totally sure how to deal with this one. Elden Stars comes out and we have no flasks left. Then I got some Elden Rain again, and we died. Next attempt, our first stance break against Zeus is a no-go since he has an AoE out in front of him. But then we get a charged up Roar Slam and Frostbite proc, so that's a little bit nicer. After a slew of AoEs, we finally get a stance break as he goes up for his biggest Hammer Slammer. Great time to get it since that attack is hard as hell to avoid. Biggest issue this round is the teleport, which just comes out as fast as he wants it to, making you miss and hits you with some Zeus bolts. It's rough, but we make it to phase 2. I got hit by the tail end of the opening breath because I messed up my spacing. The salt isn't just bad for my heart, it's bad for my head. As it starts spinning up for the rings though, we break its stance and bring it down to the ground for a QTE. Then I properly dodged the flurry. I never do that. We get one more QTE before the Elden Stars, but the game decides that it won't be a big problem this time. It's also giving us a lot of melee attacks that can actually be punished. This fight is just a lottery. The first 2 rings go for me, the 3rd ring goes for the boy. I didn't know that could happen. I really don't love how janky the final boss is. We get one more stance break and a roar before ending the game with a QTE at 5 hours and 53 minutes in-game time. 30 bosses dead, 16 deaths, half of which were to the putrid tree spirit. That's good enough to put it in the bottom of S tier. Could have been up higher if we did better against the tree spirit. Pro tip, grab Flame of the Redmanes. It's very, very weak to fire. It would also be better if we didn't have to level up all those weapons. The axe combo with the roar is really nice. Pairing Frostbite and Bleed together, also pretty great. Ogha is a great Spirit Ash. Just make sure that you summon them in the right place. Only advice for this is get better armor and don't waste your time leveling up 2 weapons to fight 1 boss to pacify people who want to see weapons from the original God of War series, especially because half of them are already going to say you should have used the magma blades anyway. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We'll be making new videos all the time. Follow me on Twitch to watch these runs live. We love finding new ways to play Elden Ring. Join my Patreon if you want to give me some money, and check out my other channel if you like D&D. I've made a bunch more characters over there.